Marvel has found its Silver Surfer for the Fantastic Four film, but, and I feel like these days there's always a but with Marvel, it is not what you expect, or at least not what you expect if you haven't been following the rumors and reports for the last year about what Marvel wanted to do with the Fantastic Four. They haven't been wrong so far, and they were right again in the case of the Silver Surfer. We are going to get into all the Silver Surfer news, how this actually furthers a theory that I have had, and frankly, I'm not alone, but how this actually leans right into a major theory that I and many others have had. We're going to talk about Sam Raimi possibly directing Secret Wars for Marvel. And when we can find out more about Three Jokers. Everybody, of course, on Ghost Machine Day wants to know more about what Jay and Jeff are going to do with Three Jokers. So we're going to find out more about that as well here on the show. Thank you guys for joining us live in the future. We have Cale.
What's up? Corn dogs.
Ooh.
I had 3 corn dogs for lunch. Whoa! You'd think it was my birthday.
3 at the same time?
Yeah, you know.
Marco.
What's up, chicken dogs? I had fried chicken.
Tyler.
I'm just gonna say hi. I can't do a joke that would land as badly as that. So
And I'm Sean. Thank you for joining us on this fine Saturday morning. Or, if you're listening to us at another time, thanks for hanging out. Before we get into the meat of the show, before we dive into the Silver Surfer topic, I did want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Ed Piskor. Unfortunately, we have lost Ed this past week. I think I speak for all the pals when I say that, this is a horrible situation that no one would have ever wanted. And our thoughts are with his family and friends right now. But we're also thinking about the people that, came forward with the allegations, the victims who are now dealing with a lot of harassment. And I think that peace is what we should all want at this point. And I think everyone should, dial it back, take it down a notch, and remember that ultimately this space and this thing that we love, comic books, is about fun and enjoyment. And it can get heavy, and it is right now. So I think we all just need to let cooler heads prevail. For that reason, and for the reason of respecting the family and friends and everybody in this situation, this is all we're going to say on the matter. So we're going to keep things on, on the comics, on the movies, on the fun. And, we're just hoping for everybody to be able to have some peace in their lives at this point, including us. So, also, I did not want to let this go by without acknowledging I wanted to acknowledge the passing of Mark Bright as well. Because unfortunately, in everything that's been going on, Mark Bright has been sort of flying under the radar. So Mark Bright, most people know him as MD Bright, Doc Bright. He passed, unfortunately, on the 27th of March, but I only saw it reported this week. So, you might know him from Green Lantern. He did some Green Lantern work, Emerald Dawn, Icon, and Quantum. He worked with Christopher Priest as well. There's been a lot of outpouring of support for him and his family this week. A lot of creators who talked about, how his artwork influenced them in some way. So I just wanted to make sure we acknowledge that as well. And I hope that more people pay attention to the fact that we did lose another giant in the industry. So
yeah, Emerald Dawn was a tremendous Green Lantern book that, I guess similar to Mark Bright, really flies under the radar as far as Green Lantern books go.
And for me, like, Quantum Woody is valiant to me. Like, everyone cares about, Exo Man of War or what's the gun guy, whatever. But for me, like
Bloodshot?
Quantum of Woody's my favorite Valiant universe character. So one of the co-creators of that. Big shame. Yeah.
All right. Grim way to start the show, but we've got a lot of fun stuff to get into. And we're going to start how we promised. Silver Surfer. Now, you can't have a movie with Galactus, which we there's no confirmation that Galactus is actually going to be in it. But again, the rumors have prevailed time and time and time again with this movie. And the rumors have heavily suggested, almost since day one, that Galactus would be the villain and that Silver Surfer would be the Herald of Galactus. The question mark has been, what version of Silver Surfer are we going to get? And now we have confirmation about that. We are getting Julia Garner.
Oh,
Julia Garner will be playing the Silver Surfer character. Now, that has caused a lot of heavy reactions online.
an uproar.
On the internet? No.
I know,
Is there
shocking.
is there a
I believe it.
hashtag not my Silver Surfer going on right there? Do people use hashtags? I don't know.
Bet. Bet.
So she's going to be playing the Shalabal
Alabama.
version of the Silver Surfer. And I mean, let's just get it out the way. How do you guys feel about that fact? So Julia Garner was in Inventing Anna, which I loved. I loved that show about Anna Delvey. Ozark, she was in Ozark. She was in House of the Dragon. No, I'm sorry. She wasn't in House of the Dragon. Those are the two major things that she's done. How do you guys feel about her getting this role?
I think she's a good actress. So I think just from a skill standpoint, I'm like, all right, cool. She's really good at freaking out. So I'm curious to see how that's portrayed in Silver Surfer, which is typically a very cold character. I remember her. She played a very like a one episode character in like one scene of Girls, where she plays like a druggie in a bathroom, and she's talking about a whole bunch of stuff. But she's fun in that as well. I think Ozark is where people probably know her the best. But I think as an actress, great choice. She's young, kind of on the come up in terms of her popularity. But
Hope she makes that bank.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's MCU. I definitely hope so. She's not bad agents. But I didn't see this coming, even though we did. You know what I mean? Like, we talked about the female Silver Surfer of it all, and I was almost convinced that, oh, this is just going to be Nova, and there's some mixed signal somewhere. Nova, the other Herald of Galactus. So I'm a little surprised, but I'm not against it. It's fine.
I had to remind myself who this individual was. I think there's an unfamiliarity for people coming in, which it might be a double-edged sword, I guess, because it would seem like a new character for people who are casuals to the MCU, and maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a perceived lack of baggage or necessitating knowledge coming into some of it, but then that loses some of the traction for people who are fans of Norrin Rad and the like typical idea of Silver Surfer. I think people are gonna more so remark that it's a woman as opposed to a man, and that's gonna be the like, hey, wait a minute, I thought I knew something about this, and now they've sort of flipped the script on me, which isn't inherently bad, but it might confuse some people and throw some people off, and it's just a thing to accept.
I don't know this actress. I've seen her in a couple of meme clips, but that's all. And I don't care about the controversy. So
All right. Well, I will get things started then. I like Julia Garner. I enjoyed her a lot in Inventing Anna. I thought she was very fun on that show, but she had to play a character who was very like calculated, and you weren't supposed to know like what her true intentions were. And I thought Julia did a great job of acting all those things out, just with her face and some of her responses and things like that.
Her accent too.
Yeah, yeah. That being said, on its face, I do not care for this. This is not my thing. Norrin Rad, Silver Surfer, is a very specific character. And this isn't Norrin Rad, so this isn't a gender swap. This is a character that exists that has actually played or been the Silver Surfer before. So this isn't, go ahead.
It's Norrin's wife, right?
It's Norrin's wife.
Yeah.
And in Earth X, she does, in that, continuity, she does become the Silver Surfer.
Mm.
So there's precedent for this in the comics.
Yeah.
That being said, I am a very, 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 very much a traditionalist when it comes to these characters. I have said the exact same thing every time something like this happens. And I feel the same. I don't think this is the way. I think most of the time, you only get one shot at bat with these kinds of major, storylines where it's Galactus and his heralds, or even doing something like Secret Wars or whatever. You're not going to do it again. Civil War was blown. They did it. That's it. And it's not going to happen again. And that sucks for me as a fan. So I feel very similarly about this. What lane exists for Norrin Rad, Silver Surfer, now that they're doing this? Likely none. So that bothers me a lot.
Can I play a little Galactus advocate, if that's okay? Who is the Silver Surfer? Like, honestly, he is a character of a situation. His origin is what the character really is. And he's grown a little bit from there. But if you just change the wife being the one that has to make that decision, and Norrin's probably still going to be in the movie, because that decision to become Galactus's herald to save his wife and his planet is the character. So Norrin will probably be there if this is his wife, because his wife will be making that same decision, just swapped. Just the way my brain thinks about it. But like, then isn't it still the same character? Like, in terms of how you go, like its trajectory, essentially.
That's not. I don't think that way. I don't think it's the same character because they're doing the same thing. I think, Norrin Rad is Norrin Rad. You talked about the coldness of the character, the way that he's typically portrayed. We don't know that they're going to have the exact same personality. And if they do have the exact same personality and the exact same response to every single thing that happens, then it actually does become a swap, because now you're erasing two identities and just melding them into one to become the Silver Surfer, even though it doesn't reflect Shala Ball, but it also isn't Norrin Rad. So yeah, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's just like, where's the Shala Ball fandom that's going to be, pissed off about this?
I'm only telling you what I think. I don't care about anybody else's opinion.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is also the thing of like the fan base, right? Like the fan base is gonna want Norrin Rad, and this is gonna be a character that there's just such an unfamiliarity about. Are people gonna show up for the character? Like for the Fantastic Four, for sure.
Yeah,
but
if they're showing up for the Fantastic Four, they'll show up for the Surfer.
But
there are a lot more Surfer fans than there are Fantastic Four fans.
But are they going to be happy with the fact that this is their Surfer?
No, of course not.
Like they're going to show up and then they're going to be pissed about it.
But they were always going to be.
Not if it was Norrin Rad, though.
Yeah, they were.
I don't know, man. I think the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer you know, that Silver Surfer was probably the most praised aspect of that whole movie, which admittedly isn't saying the most. But I think that people want to see the versions of the characters that they grew up loving or whatever they were introduced to in these movies, and Marvel does not give a fuck a lot of the time about that. And it makes it even worse when I know, or I shouldn't say I know, because I actually have a theory on this that we'll get to. But if you take it at face value, if this is a move that was made just because, you know, the Fantastic Four only has one woman on it, Galactus is not a woman, you got to get another woman in on the cast somehow. If it's not a creative decision, then it does become that much more frustrating. When it's not creative, it's just, you know, checking a box. And I say that as somebody who has seen check boxes many times that are supposed to reflect my people, and I don't want that. Michael B. Jordan being the Human Torch for no reason, didn't love it. So I'm not saying anything inconsistent. I feel the same way here as I would in any other case. And people react negatively to this kind of
And it's gonna be canon stuff. I see some people in the chat, Sanji Harris, mentioning, you know, this is another rumor. Should this be treated as an elsewhere story? No, this is gonna be part of the MCU. That's canon now that you have to live with.
Well, the multiverse exists in the MCU, though. I think that's what they're getting at.
You
But-
have to live with it.
But
This is a mistake that you have to live with, Sanji. But the I just saw an article. I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but this film is going to take place in another dimension.
All right. Okay. So we have already speculated a lot that this film would not be taking place in the dimension that we follow. 616 is how we're going to refer to it for the sake of this conversation, right? And we already kind of had that vibe. We knew it's going to take place in the past. All right, but where have the Fantastic Four been? How come we never heard of them? All those things, right? This is a multiverse movie. I've been on that train since day one. Now, the Marvel put out a poster. They put out a poster for this movie, and it's a very simple poster. It has Silver Surfer, or I'm sorry, it's not Silver Surfer, Johnny Storm, Human Torch, just kind of, you know, flying around in the background or in the foreground. You know, he makes symbols in the air through his fire and everything else. But if you look at the surrounding area, then you see that it doesn't really resemble any kind of skyline that has existed in, you know, the United States. And that has it sort of actually looks like a City of Tomorrow type of thing, like Tomorrowland or something like that, like a projected future for the world rather than anything that has ever literally existed.
Looks like the Jetsons.
Right.
Yeah.
So that has led many to believe that this movie takes place in an alternate universe, in somewhere in the multiverse, in which the Jetsons or the world of tomorrow type of thing, that it actually came to pass, presumably, potentially. Now, if we take that as fact, and this is not happening in our universe, which I already believed anyway, then this movie actually becomes far more interesting to me. So here's the idea. Galactus has a herald. It's Shalabal. Norn Rad is the husband. You know, all the trappings that we come to know about the Silver Surfer's origin. You know, she takes on the job of Silver Surfer and everything else. Fantastic Four face Galactus and the Silver Surfer throughout the entire movie. Try as they might, they lose. They lose. Galactus actually consumes Earth. And maybe more than Earth. And the Fantastic Four zip on out through a black hole. They arrive here to 616 Earth, where Galactus has not yet come, where Norrin Rad ends up becoming the Silver Surfer at another point, and Galactus is the big bad of the next phase of Marvel movies that the Fantastic Four arrive to herald. They arrive to warn everybody on 616 about the possibility of a Galactus.
So not only that, but I like your thinking, Sean. But I think there's another indicator that you might be right. They had on 4/4, Fantastic Four Day is what they're calling it, I guess. They released free comics for free digital comics for people to read. It was 5 issues. Origin issue, Fantastic Four, the Coming of Galactus story, and the first issue of Fantastic Four Life Story by Chip Zdarsky, which is interesting because the whole premise of that is the Fantastic Four knows Galactus exists, or Reed rather, and it consumes him to try and stop that because he saw it happen somewhere else. Where that could easily be Reed's status quo after this movie for the MCU. He's become this obsessed, kind of crazed person who knows that he needs to stop this, and he's the only one who can, and it causes, division in the family and stuff. A great book, by the way. Fantastic Four Life Story is phenomenal.
That's Mark Russell. That's why you
Oh,
like
it's
it so
Mark
much,
Chip
not
did the
Chip
Spider-Man
Zdarsky.
one. Yeah.
We got a super chat from Flo Dameron. Thank you, Flo. Appreciate that, bud. Why is it so hard to make a Fantastic Four movie? Secret Wars is going to have to be a hard reboot at this point.
We're going to talk about Secret Wars.
Yeah. I think it's not that hard to make a Fantastic Four movie. I think the reason why Marvel has to jump through hoops is because of the nature of the MCU and that they didn't have everything when it started. I think that's the biggest problem that they're running into. And be that as it may, right? I don't mind creative solutions to those kinds of problems. If what I just said is the road they're going down, and I would love for you guys to react to that, then I'm cool with that because they found a creative solution to the problem that they had. And it's better, I guess, than, what they did with, I thought that was creative as well, but like what they did with Wakanda, where it's like, oh, it's hidden, as a workaround for the fact, where's this guy been at? Yeah. I think this makes a lot of sense, but there are only so many times you can do this. And go ahead.
The next one is going to be the X-Men, and
exactly.
that one is going to be a lot harder to disguise.
They have the premise though, and maybe this is like the test. Let's see how Fantastic Four does. Well, which I'm assuming they're coming out first.
Yeah, we have a date.
Yeah,
Fantastic Four. Remember Sean lost the bet?
Like let's gauge the reaction and response. We already know it's in another universe, but let's say maybe there's a reception to the way that it's introduced, and they can like tweak a little bit from there. Not heavily, because obviously it's already in another universe, but whether or not the presentation of how that, like the execution of that.
We already know the MCU's X-Men representation as it stands is in another universe, so that's already established.
No, but I mean, like for them coming over for that crossover to happen, there could be creative ways to solve that isn't the same way as Fantastic Four.
Right, and the other key factor to what Marco was saying is that we have established mutants in the multiverse, but they, to this point at least, are all Fox. Not, oh, hey, it's Beast, like a generic Beast, Fox-owned character. Yeah. No, it's Kelsey Grammer, right?
Yeah.
It's Ryan Reynolds. It's Hugh Jackman. That's not the same thing. They're going to have to get to a point where they introduce us to whatever versions of those characters are going to exist in the MCU, and it won't be those. So how they do that is going to be tricky.
Kamala Khan, MCU mutant.
Even if they do it in Secret Wars, even if they introduce the concept of the X-Men and the concept of mutants or whatever, if they backdoor it into Secret Wars, they're going to have to explain where this guy with claws came from and why doesn't anybody know about him. at this point.
Right. Yeah. Rami asks, where does that put the Wolverine versus Deadpool movie? So Deadpool and Wolverine is a movie that appears to be about, and I'm taking this from trailers and rumors and, my personal speculation, so don't take this as fact. But it appears to be a movie in which Deadpool, and I assume Wolverine will join him for this mission, is recruited by the TVA to eliminate variants that are causing a problem within the timeline, following what was going on in Loki, where they had to prune variants. I've read a rumor that there's going to be Nexus Point characters, so like similar to how Scarlet Witch is a Nexus Point for the MCU, that they're going to be Nexus Point characters who, if they are killed, then that eliminates that individual universe. So I think that this movie is going to deal with that in some form or fashion.
I bet that's how they backdoor Wolverine in.
Yeah.
It might not be Hugh Jackman, but I bet we see the new Wolverine.
Maybe that means we see that the Man Thing too, right?
I doubt it.
Man Thing?
He's a Nexus Point.
I don't think we'll ever see Man Thing again. Sorry.
Damn.
Nexus being and the gate holder of the Nexus Point, I think, are separate things.
Right. No, well.
All right, let's bring the focus back to the Fantastic Four. So, if they're going to do, okay, they failed the first time, now Galactus returns, and then, I could imagine another movie down the road where Reed has, figured out the ultimate nullifier, and he's the one who ultimately defeats Galactus. But this is how you can have a Fantastic Four Galactus movie, and then also do an Avengers-style movie down the line where Galactus is the big bad. I love that. I think it's great. Is that the only way that this can work? Do you guys feel like Marvel will do this as a one and done? They defeat Galactus, and then somehow at the end they're sucked out of their universe. What do you guys think?
I always think about this in wrestling terms. All right, so you have the new character you want to push, the Fantastic Four set of characters. Can you have them lose to Galactus in their first movie?
I say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's gotta be, I think specifically in Sean's example, I think, I like it. You've got, especially if you want to get a character over like Reed, I think it's a great way to give him something to obsess over that won't make him look cold and calculated and neglectful. Right? Because everything everyone talks about with Reed is like, he's neglectful, and he's, he always keeps people at arm's length. He thinks he's smarter than everyone, blah, blah, blah.
With Reed, that's funny.
Hey. But if you introduce him with an obsession, we understand it a little more. It gives him a reason to be this way and for us to see it from his point of view. And it gives us stakes for a world we already know.
And it allows us to see why Sue loves him so much.
Yep.
A lot of people look at Reed and go, why would Sue care about this dude? He's a douche and he's aloof. But if we see a movie, look at that poster they showed us where Reed is dancing with Sue. Like, you get it. You see that there's a real relationship there that's built on love and everything else. If the dude fails to stop Galactus and becomes obsessed with that, then now it's like, oh, he's broken by what happened.
It devolves.
Yep.
Or what if there's kind of a way to have both? What if he stops Galactus, but sends it somewhere else, and the guilt of that is what brings him to the MCU because he knows he sent it somewhere else?
I could see that. You could put that in, you could sort of bake that in the same cake as, his guilt about Ben being the Thing.
And what if we find out Galactus is the one that's causing incursions as well?
Mm,
Hey, you're losing me there.
Because we kind of have two universe ending threats happening possibly at the same time, Galactus and Incursions.
well, Galactus is a world-ending threat. Not, I mean,
Sure,
he
yeah.
threatens the universe, I guess, in a general
If
idea,
Nexus
but not
beings are
really.
there,
He's
then-
just hungry.
He'll certainly end somebody's universe.
I also
Yeah.
think we already learned that having the villain lose first is not good. They did it with Kang. It did not
Yeah.
work. That you cannot job villains out. You can job heroes out because
Mm.
it's the first act in a larger story. So it's not like the only time they're gonna have a chance to win or lose. But if you make the villain lose first, why the hell would I care about a rematch?
Well, and losing for Galactus too is rarely ever being beaten, but more like being delayed.
Mhm.
Yeah, but okay, but they delayed him, so then they're gonna do it again. That's what like I think
Yeah.
that killed Kang. We knew that there were infinitely more Kangs, and it still didn't matter. People just
Yep.
didn't care.
I think you need to show the threat level of Galactus. And I think it needs to be anti-modern. I think it needs to be the first 20 pages of Crisis on Infinite Earths where literally universes are being wiped out in white, as the book goes on. Like we need to be afraid of Galactus.
Thanos won and won and won and won and won. He didn't take any losses until he lost. And I think they need to follow that. They need to make a badass. They didn't do that with Kang. And I think even if the Jonathan Major stuff hadn't gone where it went, like with him as a person, I think people were soft on the character anyway.
Mm.
If he wasn't already dead because of Jonathan Majors, Ant-Man killed him. Like that's it.
Yeah, he lost to the character that people perceive as like one of the weakest Avengers.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Lost to ants, bro.
Yeah, like sorry, not taking that man seriously as the tentpole villain now that he got stomped out by ants. Literally.
Couldn't even kill him.
Yeah, no way. Flo Dameron says this is too much at this point. Superman Legacy is the only superhero movie I'm hyped for in the next year. Well, I mean, I get it. I definitely get it. I think there are a lot of people who feel like the MCU has gone off the rails. I don't feel that way. I think this is all fun and exciting, and I enjoy the ride. But we know that they are aware they got to make this right. Fantastic Four cannot fail. That movie
Yeah.
cannot be bad.
It just feels like more planning on their part, where a lot of this past phase has just been, incidents after incidents, introducing new characters, a lot of busy work. Where this is like, okay, this is groundwork, and if what you're saying ends up being true, Sean, then this is that long-term groundwork in the similar vein of Thanos, which is like cool, where we're ramping up, and Kang never got off the ground.
Yeah, that was a critical error. Kang should have killed Ant-Man, or succeeded somehow. Harris says, "Do you think?" Hey, Harris, how you doing, bud? You going to WrestleMania by chance? You going to Philly? He says, "Do you think Doom will be in the film in any capacity?" Yeah,
Oh.
like maybe not
Here, like
Doctor Doom, but Victor Von Doom. I think that in some way, because you can't they're intrinsically linked, right? Reed, the FF, and Doom. So I don't feel like you can say there is no Doctor Doom in their world. And then in our world where they go to, there is a Doctor Doom who then becomes Reed's rival. I don't think that works. I think that some way, somehow, Doctor Doom has to be in the first movie, and he has to also, go to come to the 616. Maybe they're friends at first.
Yeah, and if that goes wrong, when they come to the 616 and Victor gets scarred in his face during it.
And
Right.
let me take that a step further. I think it would be cool to have him sort of lean on the magic side that we never get to see, in the movie portrayals. He's still a genius or whatever, but he leans on the magic, and that's how he gets over. Whereas Reed and everyone else, they use science or whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
And even in a Fantastic Four life story, like they start off as friends throughout most of it. You know, we don't even see Doctor Doom until halfway through the series, honestly, which is decades.
I think that's the way to play it. I think having them be friends. Look, they're showing us this is a movie that takes place not in 616, presumably. They're giving us a Shia LaBeouf version of Silver Surfer. Okay, let's get fucking weird. Victor Von Doom is their friend. He's an ally. He's not one of the Fantastic Four, but he's their best friend.
And if the rumors that the kids are in this too, because I saw rumors about that Valeria and Franklin are in it as well.
Oh, Franklin.
Uncle Victor is a big deal, you know, with Valeria, and there's a great way that's a great way of humanizing Doctor Doom as well.
Well, then it's a good way to, at the end, you know, you turn him, right? It's a little more tragic. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that.
The closest we've had to like a hero to villain turn with Scarlet Witch which was a little hokey, a lot of hokey. So that I feel like that's also like a story beat the MCU hasn't really touched. You know, the heroic fall.
It hasn't been done well.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. And I think this is an opportunity to actually meaningfully create relationships between characters that we can care about for years. And right now, with the new stuff that the MCU has done, they haven't really fostered that. They haven't really fostered those kinds of relationship dynamics. This is an opportunity to do it. Baked in relationships. That's what they need. I feel like they need to bring the kids in because Sue has to get pregnant at some point, and I feel like how are they gonna handle that? And then beyond her pregnancy, these kids are gonna be babies. So how long is it going to take for us to get to the point where the kids can actually partake meaningfully in the stories? I think having them already have a family and bringing all that forward into the MCU, there are no families in the MCU.
Yeah.
Let us have it.
And that's stakes right there too. It's built in stakes as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Bring it on.
Exciting.
Aaron Ruiz says it's kind of crazy that both Superman Legacy and Fantastic Four seem to have just a bunch of major characters appear in them. They both have a lot of work to do. I think Superman Legacy, well, it's called Superman now, but I think Superman has a lot of work to do in terms of being the first opening salvo in a whole universe that's meant to be a universe.
Yeah.
You know, relative to like everything else, Man of Steel felt very small in comparison.
Insular.
Yeah, it felt very insular. And I think, you know, in reflection, maybe that was a mistake. But James Gunn is seeding what's going to come later through his Superman film. Hopefully that doesn't bog it down. I think Fantastic Four is a lot more suited for everything that we're talking about for a million reasons. The biggest one is that these characters go together.
Yeah.
All I ask is that we still get Mole Man. That's
The
I
first
just
villain.
want that as an intro scene. Give me the Incredibles intro scene.
I can
That's
see
all
it.
I want.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah,
do that,
I can see it.
I'm in. I'm in for the ride. Do whatever you want afterwards.
And I think it's smart to establish that they are heroes already.
Yeah.
They already do this. They're really good at it. We're going to see them lose, so we have to see them win.
Yeah.
So giving them a jobber villain early on, I think is very smart.
See them work together.
Absolutely. They're veterans. To me, in my mind, the way I'm approaching thinking about this, they're the Avengers in the sense that this is the only superhero team that Earth needs. They got it on lock. They're very good at it. They've been at it for a long time. So when Galactus beats them, it's like, whoa. We don't lose, and we lost everything.
Yep.
We got to get our lick back. But we got to go to a whole other universe to do it. We got to get the fuck out of here. I love it.
Did they ever come back and Galactus has just cleared out the whole universe?
Well, so again, Galactus isn't really like, as far as I've ever seen, like get rid of universes. He eats worlds. He
He's
sucks
a
the
planet
energy.
eater. Yeah.
Right, but has he ever succeeded in eating all the planets?
That's not his agenda, though. He's not trying to do that.
He's like he goes, it's like going through your snack cabinet. Ooh, a planet? Sweet.
And he's
He-
not hungry,
Yeah.
like constant. Like the he gets sated by a planet, and then at another point he'll
You go,
He'll do it
okay,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He plays galactic pickleball in between worlds, you know.
yeah. So, Rami, they're trying to avoid origin stories for the rebooted franchises, and I think that's real smart. I'm over origin stories.
At this
And
point,
especially with these characters, like we don't need it.
Yeah.
well, you don't need to know, right?
What do you mean?
Like you don't need it in the sense that I don't need to know. I can work with these characters regardless of whether I know origin or not.
Fantastic Four's origin could be told in an opening credits easily.
I think they'll tell the origin in an intelligent way that seeds it throughout the first movie. And I think even if they don't like, yeah, okay, what's the origin of the Fantastic Four? Hey, we took a spaceship, we got radiated crazy, and now we have powers. Done.
Yep.
They could do a really cool opening sequence that showcases that literally through the credits, and then never talk about it again.
Fucking Spider-Man 2 style.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And also, I think Marvel has the luxury now of assuming that many, many people who come to these movies have a general idea of who these characters are. Maybe not with Captain Marvel or Shang-Chi, which is why they got heavier origins, but with the Fantastic Four, with the X-Men, you can assume a little bit of knowledge on the part of the viewer. Not all the knowledge, but enough that you don't have to do a full origin.
Yeah.
Play
There's
an intro
material
video.
out there that people can look at.
Yeah.
Play an intro video. Welcome to the Baxter Building. Keep it trucking.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. Our heroes were astronauts boarded on a spaceship and they got yeah,
Oh
like
my
like
God.
fucking Miss Minutes.
Yeah, it could be a
Yeah, that'd be great.
a
Have
tour
Herbie
group
do
at the
it.
Baxter Building. Yeah.
Dude, there could even be a like a museum that is a tribute to the Fantastic Four
Ooh.
for
And
how
you know who
amazing
would-
they are.
You know who would run it? If he were still around? Stanley.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, damn. The curator, like the museum
Oh,
director? Oh, shit.
Well, that's what the Baxter Building
Oh.
is. The Baxter Building is a museum for the Fantastic Four. So just have that. And you could have,
go.
a little cameo by, what's the mailman's name?
Can't remember.
That's who Stanley played in the
Lumpkins
first
or
one.
something
No.
like that?
They'll AI him in.
Oh, no. Oh, Herbie. There's Herbie's role right there. Tour guide.
Herbie, yeah. Mike Elliott says they did ramp up his hunger once, and at the end of the universe, it's just Galactus and Franklin Richards left. Cool.
Shit.
Yeah, that is cool. I wanted to touch on the fact that, as Tyler mentioned earlier, they used this to promote some comics. They gave access. You have to kind of like go through a little small game. It's not even a game, but you go to the website and it gives you a 404, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
a page not found error, and it says maybe Invisible Woman has hidden this page. Maybe try later, or maybe there's more to the page. So if you click around, then you get access to the Future Foundation, which even just them using that name could be a hint towards something we might see in the movie.
Wait to see Ant-Man again.
What happened?
Can't wait to see Ant-Man again. Damn.
All right.
but it gives you access to 5 comic books, and I love the fact that they're using comic books to sort of help prepare viewers for the movie. They learned a lesson from James Gunn.
this is on the Marvel site.
Yeah, you have to
Marvel.com.
scan a QR code to get to it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I didn't even use a QR code. I literally clicked around on the website, the
Oh,
404.
There's one on Herbie if you do that. Yeah.
Oh, I see it now. I see
Yeah,
that.
it's hard to see unless you're looking for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're interesting choices for comics. I mean, it's the Stan Lee and Kirby books mostly, which I don't know if I know that's the story, like that's the story, but they don't read as well to a modern audience who's just getting into the Fantastic Four. But also, I see the point of adding it because it's the story that they're probably adapting. But that's why I like that they have the life story issue in there as well.
And they're free.
Yeah.
So I think James Gunn promoted comics and said, "Hey, go buy these." Which maybe Marvel could have done a better job about in this case. But I like the fact that they're saying, "Hey, here's some free comics alongside our announcement. Go check them out. If you like any of them, particularly I would imagine Life Story, that's something that you can readily find on the stands at pretty much probably any comic book shop, or you can use Marvel Unlimited to read more of this, which is, I think, clearly what they want you to do. So I like it. Ultimately, does this increase your excitement for the movie, decrease it, or leave you where you were?
I don't think the news we've gotten excites me. I'm more interested from the conversation we've had around it, which actually I'm worried is going to hurt me in the theater.
I want to like this movie so much that I'm hedging my expectations strongly. I'm going in being like, yep, this movie is going to happen. I don't think any hype will come in until I see a trailer. I think that a trailer where I can see what tone they're going for, that's going to be what dictates whether I'm excited for this or not. Music too. I think the music is going to be a big part of this movie, like a score for how I feel the tone will be. So I need to hear it as well.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I when it comes to plays that look like they're going to be long term and they're thought out, that to me is a good sign. And I think these are characters you can't fumble, so they're going to make sure that they're vetting it and ensuring that it's fun, it's enjoyable, and that's the ideal. And I'm when the MCU manages to do good, it does great. So I'm hopeful.
I am very hopeful. I am an established Marvel mark. Okay, I am a look. I love it. I love it, and I desperately want the Fantastic Four movie to be good. I love these characters. I think that they allow the MCU to do something different than literally any other group of characters they could introduce would allow them to do, which is to tell stories about family. And it's weird to me. It's not their fault, but it's weird to me that something that, we all love the MCU. It's for people of all ages, but families, man, like kids. I think there should be something for families to take their kids to watch and enjoy. And I hope that this can be that. And that's even further why I think they need to introduce Valeria and Franklin. Children should be able to come to these movies and see characters that they can, like and engage with, who are around their age. And so I have a lot of hopes for this movie, maybe too many, but I feel like Marvel sees what this movie has to be and they're going to deliver. It wouldn't surprise me if everything that we have kind of said here factors in.
Yeah.
Because what else is it going to be? So you mark our words. You mark this spot. We'll know more when the trailer drops. I think we're pretty on the money here. And I can't wait.
That's gold.
Yeah. Amin says Hollywood already fumbled FF 3 times though. Yeah, but not Marvel.
4 times the charm, baby. It's in the name. Get it together.
How many times have they fumbled Batman and Superman? Like, we're still letting them try. So,
And again, this is Marvel Studios. This ain't Fox. You know, Fox got nothing right practically.
Marvel's got skin in the game.
I like that Electra movie.
What's that?
I said I like that Electra movie, so don't hit, knock it. I'm joking.
Here we go.
And technically they already Fantastic Four was fumbled in 4 movies if you count the Roger Corman one. So maybe the curse is gone.
I don't think anybody in their right mind's counting the Roger Corman one.
Which surprisingly best one of the 4.
It's not surprising.
Hey, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you being on board and choosing to spend your Saturday mornings with us live. It's fantastic. I don't know how you guys do it. We get up at this ungodly hour. I don't know why. But for those of you who come and hang out with us, we appreciate you. Especially like if you're on the West Coast, like I don't even know what you're doing with us right now.
Good morning. 7 in the morning. That's not bad.
We might be lying in bed with those people as they watch on their phone.
Ooh,
Quite intimate this morning.
You looking good. Hey.
Hey, maybe you should brush your teeth.
Oh man.
Marco makes some
Hey.
kissy faces. Yeah.
You want, baby?
Hey, maybe you should roll over and pick up your phone and subscribe to us on patreon.com/thecomics
Roll over.
baby.
Yeah.
Where
Nice.
you can enjoy more bang for your buck.
Oof.
Talk about morning wood.
Wow. Thank you to everybody that supports us on patreon.com/thecomics. You guys are amazing. If you want to support your boys and join the Palsverse, where you will get a nickname and a shout out here on the show, you can do that at the aforementioned Patreon page. We appreciate everybody who does that. And I want to show some of that appreciation right now with a special shout out to the best pals in the universe: Thunderstruck Rebecca Alejandro, the Hound of Justice Atomic Hound, Starcross Catherine Stars, and the Red Spiral Storm. I also want to thank the Night Stalker Harris Nijinsky, Brian Demolisher Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Joel Justice, Jalen the Sanguine Sorcerer, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Amin Almighty Perez, Pete the Dreamweaver Collins, Christian Uncaged Harriet, Always Laughing, the Spear of Justice Izzy Spears, and a returning shout out, the Great Destroyer Hyper Viper 89. That is Justin over on the Discord.
Yo.
Thanks to all of you for your support, even those who I didn't shout out today. You guys are so appreciated. Let me tell you something. We didn't have the greatest week. All right? We didn't have the greatest week. And for me personally, it is uplifting. I'll put a positive spin on it. It is uplifting to be able to read those names out and have them stand as a suggestion of the amount of support that we get. Because for everybody who says something negative, for everybody who, emails us something crazy, there are those of you out there who really support us, who really care about us, who are on the Discord, who are in our comment section, whether it's live, whether it's comments for videos we put out, and give us a lot of love. And it really means a lot. And I know, I'm sure I speak for the rest of the pals when I say it helps get through the harder times when it isn't so easy to do this.
Yeah. It's a testament to you guys.
Yeah.
And that's people even outside the list of names Sean puts out every week.
Yeah.
We interact very closely with people in the Discord and people in the comments who, I think it's safe to say we consider pals and friends, and having that is incredible. So just don't think because you're not on Patreon that we don't appreciate your interaction. We absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
And even like talk about the Discord. Like, for it being on the internet, people are pretty okay with just discussing things like adults there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Good
know,
place for nuance.
there is room for nuance there and to talk. And honestly, there's room for people to even work through their ideas on things,
Yeah.
which is refreshing to see on the internet. So if you just want a place to talk comics and everything surrounding comics, Discord's a great spot for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the spirit of talking about, you know, the Patreon, we had the nomination process for the next book club for Tom King month, which you guys showed up, you nominated. Hopefully a lot more of you will continue to do that as we go forward with this whole process, but a whole bunch of you did it. It was awesome. And we were able to narrow that down to 4 books. A final 4, if you will. We got the final
Fantastic
4
Four?
going on. Final 4, Fantastic Four. And so the 4 books are Mr. Miracle, Omega Men, Heroes in Crisis, and Rorschach. And if you want to go ahead, Cale.
Never mind, y'all. You guys aren't any good. Never mind. Heroes in Crisis on that list. Forget it. Forget everything I just said.
Terrible 4. Frustrated 4.
Just kidding, guys.
If you want to nominate, if you want to force us to read Heroes in Crisis, if you feel like doing that, or if you want to vote for something else, whatever it is that you want, you can head on over to patreon.com/thecomicspals. Any supporter at any tier gets to vote. So it's real easy. Right now, Mr. Miracle and Omega Men are tied
Yes.
Oh, thank
at
God.
43%.
Imagine he's like, they're tied at last place.
Rorschach has 14% of the vote, and Heroes in Crisis is rounding out the bottom at a flat 0%.
Ooh,
Oh,
thank
yes.
you.
Man.
They're giving us the old okey doke.
Yeah.
And if Omega Man wins, we already recorded that, so we can just put that one out. That's fine.
Hey, Rami, thanks for joining the Discord. Appreciate
Word.
that.
Just saw that.
By the way, there's a link to the Discord in the video description of anything that we do. If one of you 3 could put one in the chat as well, that would be phenomenal. There are a lot of you that show up every week, and like, you're missing out. You're missing out because there's so much discourse on the Discord. Our Aaron Ruiz says, I'm digging the archives and preparing a presentation on why you should vote for Heroes in Crisis. I would receive that. I would receive that. You want to state your case? Go for it. But I don't control that. It doesn't matter whether I want to read it or not. The people who are voting on Patreon, they determine it, and then I have to show up and just do the show.
We've gone hands off
Yeah.
for choosing. Like, we're done. We've
Yeah.
chosen too much. It's been 7 years of this. We can't choose anymore.
The choosing previously was a lot of just dead air of us thinking, all right, what else is on our bookshelves?
Oh, boy. Just a
done so many.
nightmare. I'm out of books I like.
All the books I like at this point are too long for. Yeah. Catherine says, I'm curious about Mr. Miracle. Should I be? I don't know. Mr. Miracle is fantastic.
So good.
So yeah. I really, other than Heroes in Crisis, I don't think there are any losers. All these books are great. They're truly fantastic.
I'd even argue Heroes in Crisis is still highly readable.
I do not agree with that.
Well,
It's gorgeous
you
looking.
you can read it.
You're right about that.
I'm just saying, we've done book clubs, Invasion, where it was hard to even read.
No way. You fuck off right now. There's nothing about Invasion that was hard to read
It was
compared
too
to
much.
Heroes in
Words
Crisis.
everywhere. And it was
No.
creepy teeth.
Come on.
This cope is crazy. Wow. Roboters 100 says, we appreciate everything that Comics Pals provide, which is a safe and fun place to discuss and have a great time while doing it. Thank you for saying that. That's what we're trying to do. That's the goal.
But Roboters also said, I'm not saying vote for Heroes in Crisis, but you should vote for Heroes in Crisis. So you're kind of sending mixed signals there, buddy.
Oh man. So speaking of Tom King month, we've got Tom King month happening right here every single week, where we are counting down our top 5 Tom King books, one from each of us every single week. We started last week so that we could get 5 in. But now we're going to give you guys number 4. Participate in the comments, drop your 4th or drop your whole list, whatever you want to do. Participate on Discord. Let us know where you're at with this. Let's kick things off. I'll start this week with my number 4. And that is going to be Sheriff of Babylon. Sheriff of Babylon. Now, this book actually knocked me on my ass when I first read it. And I got to admit, I didn't really care to read it. I didn't at the time really know much about Tom King, I don't think. Mitch Gerads was still a new name to me. And the name sort of turned me off. I didn't know what to expect. But boy, if I wasn't blown away by this.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to get into it, but I have a really, really soft spot for stories that are about military people and war and their experience and their pain and the complexities of that of war. And Tom King and his past in the CIA, and I'm sure many things that he saw, heard from people, he's able to distill all of that into a story that is very complicated, not one note, not one-sided, and really, really hammers home the fact that that experience is awful for everybody. And it hit me in a place that is deep for me and that many, many stories don't touch. I really, really loved it. And the Mitch Gerads art don't hurt. It's a phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, I think you should. That's my number 4.
I wish that got further in the poll because I don't
Yeah,
remember
same.
anything about it.
Oh,
We did. I think we did it as a book club years and years ago when Tom King was coming up,
yep.
and when we
Alongside.
were coming up. But man, I do not remember. I remember everything you are talking about. I remember all of those feelings I had. I don't remember anything about the book.
Good moments of escalation. I remember. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
How many volumes is that? Do you know?
2.
Just
Oh,
two.
then I own it. Okay. I was like, oh, I have the first 2 volumes. I've never read it. I own it. I just haven't read it. It's just bookshelf porn for me.
Damn, that would have been a good one. Well, whatever gets picked will be good, but that would have been a good one.
Yeah. Well worth it, Tyler.
I guess I'll go. Number 4 for me is Vision.
Nice. It's mine too. Yeah.
Vision is where that was right around the time where like the writers at Marvel and DC were like getting like they were becoming like well-known names. And DC snagged Tom King as soon as, Vision was hot. Who was the artist on Vision? I had it written down.
Gabriel Walter.
Gabriel Walter, yeah. Phenomenal. And for a character that kind of languished at Marvel for years, honestly. I mean, prior to this, the most big Vision story was Young Avengers, which is Young Vision, really.
Yeah.
So this kind of brought him in the forefront to kind of coincide with his introduction in the movies, in some weird synergy that worked because it made Vision a sympathetic character again. Even though, Vision has a whole family in this, that's not what you're seeing in the movies, but just thematically, him being a family man follows him, going forward. Vision, great characters in it, really, really dark. And worked with the lore of Marvel, bringing Victor Mancha into this. Real good stuff. Phenomenal book.
And yeah, like I said, that's I'll go next because the Visions was also mine. It also like concentrates on sort of what the theme is, like what is humanity, and can something with an artificial brain who doesn't know what humanity is and has only experienced it from the outside, can it create, which ultimately is like one of the most human things we can do. But through the course of the book, we see how that perspective and that attempt to be human twists because it doesn't have the fundamental human understanding or malleability. It's phenomenal. I think it may be too low on my list.
Even thinking about it too, like
I agree. Yeah.
the ability to like bring in like the Grim Reaper because the vision's based on the patterns of Wonder Man in a way.
Yeah.
It's just like it's masterful how to bring in all that comic booky stuff,
Yeah.
and it still works.
That last bit that I was about to say was, I think it might be my favorite Tom King, and then I went, wait, but it's number 4.
Oh my god.
So it must just be it's solid.
Decent.
I mean, yeah, I think about the visions more, but I think my number 1 affected me immediately, and that's why it's higher.
Screw 2 and 3.
I
Then.
know what it is.
Yeah, I think I know what it is too now.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, it's Tom King's entire Batman run. We'll get to that, but
That's right.
I love The Wedding. You guys know I'm a sucker for a romance.
Mine is Mega Men. I think that was a few of ours last for number 5, but this one I've swapped with Sheriff for me, and yeah, just love the nuance of it, the conversations, and again a reflection on war and the capacity for what people do in certain situations.
Awesome.
Nice.
So those are our number 4s. I would love to know where you guys are at with Tom King as far as, your top 5. Roboters threw his whole top 5 in the chat right here. He says Swamp Thing Winter Special, number 5. 4 is The Button. 3 is City of Bane. 2 is Gotham City Year 1, and number 1 is Grayson.
I didn't even consider The Button.
The Button.
Completely forgot about The Button.
God. Oh, I love that shit. I want to reread that.
Too bad.
Good.
I don't remember The Button. Like I remember it, but I don't remember the impact it had on me outside of those really good covers.
I forgot that was him.
Exciting. I did too.
It was him and Williamson, right? Williamson was on The Flash.
Because it was a crossover with The Flash, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
Just as Rebirth was starting.
Because he was doing the Batman stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff. I want to reread that.
That's too bad. After Tom King month, you'll never get to read another Tom King book again.
I know.
Shame.
I know. Izzy's issue says, thanks for the reminder to go vote for Heroes in Crisis, up to 11% now.
What? Was it not at 0%?
It was.
It sure was.
Jesus Christ. Thank you for everybody who just subscribed.
Just need more people to head on over and cast their vote.
For anything but Heroes in Crisis.
Speaking of casting your vote, just real quick, I don't want to go into a whole thing about it. Make sure you guys vote in the listener pick poll that is up right now. We have been crushing it every week. It's more votes than the last. You guys are doing amazing. If you listen to this show, you listen to Pals Polls, you should be absolutely voting in the poll. And if you don't listen to Pals Polls, that means that you have missed out on the stack, which is a segment we do over there where we literally go over how many books I bought that week because I buy too many comics, and guess how many I got. And it's a little guessing game, and whoever wins, I throw them a code from one of the Marvel books that we read. So you're missing out on free comics. You're missing out on free fun. Vote in the listener pick poll and watch Pals Polls. Come hang out with us live. It's a good time.
You can literally get Sean's books.
Yeah.
If you play in the stack.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. All right. Let's jump into the news. Let's get into the news. We talked about Fantastic Four at the top. We're staying in the MCU because Secret Wars is still happening. We don't know now necessarily the makeup of everything because the Kang monkey wrench of it all. We don't know how Marvel's going to resolve all that, but the movie is happening, and movies need directors. And so Sam Raimi has actually thrown his hat into the ring in a verbal capacity. So I would say that's pretty official, by saying that, he would like to direct this movie. In an interview with Screen Geek from WonderCon, he said, quote, "I love 90% of the Marvel heroes that I've read in the great Stan Lee Marvel Universe comic books. I would love to work with Marvel again. They haven't reasonably asked me to," in reference to directing the movie. "I hope they had a good experience me. They haven't asked a good experience with me. They haven't asked me yet. I hope they do."
Notice me, senpai.
Sure wants out into the world. That's the secret,
I guess. Manifest.
Yeah.
Look, I love Spider-Man 1 through 3. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Doctor Strange?
No.
Mm.
I think Sam Raimi is a great director of a certain kind. Doctor Strange was maybe the biggest letdown of the last couple of phases of the MCU for me. And I don't want that to happen again. Sam Raimi didn't care or didn't know or wasn't interested in what was happening with Scarlet Witch at the time outside of the movies, which is why if you don't like, it just doesn't even, the movie doesn't feel right for the Scarlet Witch character that we had been following. And then jobbed out the Illuminati in a sequence that is meant to be fun, I guess, but it wasn't fun for me.
That was cool.
I don't think that Sam Raimi is the guy to handle that many characters in a movie that is probably meant to be as much story as it is fan service. I don't want his vision for that. This, for me, is an easy pass. I hope Marvel does not approach him for this.
I think this makes sense. I was on the record of liking Multiverse of Madness. I think me and Cale were the only ones out of the four of us that enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Probably one of the, in terms of more recent Marvel movies, one of the ones that sticks out to me the most. But if we think about what Secret Wars could possibly be, this could be the culmination of Marvel movies since we've had Marvel movies. And I don't even mean just MCU stuff. Like, there's the potential for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine to still be in that. There's potential for Tobey Maguire to be in that as well. I think, there's still rumors about that. And like those Fox era Marvel characters to also be a part of that Secret Wars movie. And what better way to culminate that than with a director who also directed a lot of those original Marvel movies? Three. Well, and then a fourth if you count Doctor Strange. But that's more than any other director had directed Marvel movies. I mean, there's, as a director, sure, they've had sequels, but not always the same director after that. But it's almost like bringing back the characters and also the creatives who've worked in that era of comic book movies to end it all.
Russos might be the only ones that.
Russo's probably the only ones, yeah. Which also probably the only ones I'd be like, all right, maybe bring them back for this as well. But I don't know. I would like to see what Raimi could do with this. He seems to want it. I've liked what he's done. I'm not against it.
I have a hard time laying the full blame of Doctor Strange on Sam Raimi, because I do think you're right, Sean. I think there's a lot of stuff in that doesn't work. But that film was a mess behind the scenes for a long time. And the stuff that worked about that film for me was the Sam Raimi stuff. So, I could see you not being a fan of that. And that's fine. So when it's wrong, but it's fine. When I saw this, Sean posts the show notes in our private Discord. You know, in my morning, so I look them over. Over my coffee, preparing. And when I saw it, I thought this conversation was going to be Sam Raimi wants to direct a Star Wars, and I went, "Oh no, I don't think so. I don't."
Wait, why is this even in the show notes? What are we
Yeah, I
doing?
was like, "Well, okay, we've talked about Star Wars before. I guess that's fine."
Slow week.
But for Secret War, I just feel like they're gonna want to go with an Avengers level director. And didn't haven't the Roosters those brothers that came in and did the old ones? Didn't they? Haven't they said they wanted to do Secret Wars?
It's their favorite story, and
Yeah.
they've directed more MCU movies than anybody. They've directed 4 MCU movies, and they work in the MCU.
I would bet it's gonna be them again.
That would also be a mic drop moment for D23 this year, which is a big D23 coming up this year as well.
And I just don't see Sam Raimi getting that moment.
Look, it's hard to know where to place blame for all of the things that happen behind the scenes with these movies, right? But Spider-Man 3, even though it's a movie that I enjoy quite a bit, I could watch it at any moment. Sam Raimi did not like the characters that were created, like Venom, for example, post Stanley. And there's a certain crop of characters he wanted to use, and he didn't want to use any of the other ones. And when he had to, he fucked it up, because that Venom is real bad. And to me, what happened in Doctor Strange with the Illuminati makes a lot of sense, because Sam Raimi jobbed Venom out too. I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see it. So, I'd much rather see the Russos step into the fray. They're very busy. They're very, very busy. I don't know if they even have the time to direct this film. And that they've said as much in the past. I don't know who else you get, but for me, I hope it's not Raimi.
Is there a dream pick, like that it wouldn't happen, but like you would love to see tackle an Avengers level movie?
The Russos.
Edgar Wright.
No way. You know what? I don't hate it.
Dude, get me James Cameron. If we're going balls out,
I would
get me
love
Cameron.
to see James Cameron on a
We're never
Marvel
gonna see
movie.
that movie.
I
He's gonna
know.
be underwater for 20 more years.
Namor movie. Let's go. Bring
Hey,
Sue
all
Storm
right.
in.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg presents.
Wouldn't it be wild if this was the film we got like Ron Howard on? It was like,
It's just a through the life retrospective of Doctor Doom. I mean, I would love to see Denis Villeneuve. Is that how you pronounce it, Marco? You're the more
Dennis Villeneuve.
I know it's pronounced Denis. That much I know.
Denis? Oh, then you're
Someone in the
not-
chat mentioned it too, and I'm like, he knows how to do a big movie, and does it well. Those Dune movies are Dune things to me, but they have to do something big for Secret Wars. I'm sorry, it's got to be a big thing.
I got it. Don't even sweat it.
Scorsese.
I got it. Our returning hero,
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon.
Oh no!
Who else could it be? Who else could it
Full
be?
circle. Let's get it.
I haven't heard from him in a while. Something happened?
He, some minor allegations on some show nobody watched.
I thought he was rebooting Buffy because it felt like the Hellmouth was opening in New York the other day. So
It's like a Brad Bird.
See, I would like it if I think based on The Incredibles, I would like it if he should have done Fantastic Four if you ask me. But if there were I don't hate that. You know what? Actually, I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either. Brad Bird did Mission Impossible as well. One of them.
Yes, I believe so. I know Iron Giant, right?
Animated movies are a little different, but yeah.
In all seriousness, I would really prefer that they bring whoever it is, I would prefer that it be someone who has already worked within the MCU. Just because I think that with a movie that is this big, with this many moving parts, having an understanding of how the MCU operates, having a shorthand with the producers and the writers and direct and other, people that work in this space, I think that that is a requirement because
Googler?
it's so who
Googler? Is his name the guy who did Black Panther?
I actually saw his name floating around for this when Secret Wars was first announced.
Yeah.
I mean, he works in the space, The only
Yeah.
issue, the only thing I can think of is just that Black Panther is sort of smaller scale than what he presumably would have to do with Secret Wars, but he's very talented and he's trusted. I'd be into that. Yeah.
I'm not
Give it a
against
try.
Coogler. Yeah.
I go Russo brothers. I go Coogler.
Hmm.
And then after that, it's like I don't even know.
The toss up.
I think for me, the Russos are probably the top as well because they've already proven they can handle it. And frankly, Disney and Marvel should be shoveling money at them to get them
Literally.
to do it.
Is Peyton Reed your third choice, Sean?
I don't think so because
I know you.
truth, like
Yeah.
I just think those movies are like generic,
Yeah, they feel like,
Visual.
oh, this is what people make fun of Marvel movies for.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's above Peyton Reed for me.
Yeah, no, Sam Raimi has a perspective, with directing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who's the guy? Iron Man 3? Oh, take him off the list. Okay. Woo! I was gonna say, wait a second, we're not doing that.
That says Ant-Man 3.
Oh,
Who's
wow.
the guy
Okay.
So Amin said, who's the guy who directed Ant-Man 3? Take him off that list.
Yeah.
I don't know how I read that. I don't know how I read Iron
Manny
Man.
mentioned Iron Man 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's Shane Black, right?
Yeah, Shane Black.
Here's the thing, though.
Douchebag.
Huh?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Wait, we'll talk about douchebag in a bit. Here, the thing with picking a director though is I know Sean, you want someone who has worked in the machine that is the MCU before. I want somebody with perspective and that can do something different. Like I know people don't like Shane Black's Iron Man 3, but I like that movie because it felt different.
Yeah.
It looked different.
But this is the movie where they
I
need,
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
same with the, the last two Avengers. This needs to be the most homogenous, impactful film that you can get.
150 million%.
There will be no room for style or perspective.
Douchebag 16 says, allegations and bad behavior aside, I would love Joss Whedon's return. Just let him do what he wants. Hey, I haven't seen your name before, so welcome to the channel. Appreciate you. Everybody who's watching us, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Look, I am a person who has literally grown up since I'm a kid with Joss Whedon's stories. So as a storyteller, he's super important to me. And if I put the allegations aside, if we ignore completely any of that and just talk about the merits of the director, I think the MCU has sort of moved on from Whedon's style. And I sort of feel like it would feel like more of a regression. And I guess you could argue, well, why would the Russos be any different than that? And I think for me, the answer is Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. There was a lot of behind the scenes that made that movie what it is. But I think that the Whedon-esque aspects of that also turned people off. And I don't know if we can bring that style back.
I think we've moved on from Whedon-esque stuff in general.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
think...
I think now that's considered cheesy. The quippy nature of stuff like that. I think it's dated, and
it's quips without meaning. You know, it's just something to make you think, oh, that was a good line, versus something with bite that adds to the meat of what's, you know, being presented.
Is that a Buffy pun?
No. I've never watched Buffy. I don't even know what it's about.
That's wild for me.
There's something I wish I could say right now that I just will not.
Okay, all right. Type it.
Don't forget, I grew up in a religious household, so
That's true. Vampire, probably not. Probably
Oh,
frowned upon.
can't do it. Can't do it.
my grandma saw me watching Avatar: The Last Airbender once and tried to get me in trouble for these people having mysterious powers. And
Magic.
my parents were like, "That's not what it is."
I remember growing up, my grandma lived in the upstate New York in the woods, and there was one other house nearby that had kids, and they weren't allowed to watch stuff like Harry Potter because it was witchcraft. And those kids were weird as hell. I'm sorry.
This guy.
Muschietti, considering how much Sean loved the Flash, I mean, you're bugged out. I don't want anybody that was involved in the Flush involved in Secret Wars. Like, you guys don't know. Secret Wars was that's the first comic book that I bought. Like the original event. I still have my original copy. I've shown it off on Patreon. It has tape on it. That's how many times I have read it. Okay? It's extremely important to me. You bring anybody from the Flush near this movie, the MCU is going to have a problem with me. I'm going to be the big bad. Fuck Thanos. I'm inevitable.
Okay. Oh,
Well, I mean, if Ant-Man did, then we might have avoided a whole bunch of deaths.
No.
you know, one thing that really stood out to me when we talked a little bit about how Sam Raimi said that his favorite stuff was the Lee, Kirby, Romita era stuff. And so when you read that the first time, Sean, what came to me was the original Secret War. And I went, oh no, Sam Raimi doesn't understand the assignment.
And I think this has to be a fusion of that one and Hickman's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it has to be. And I think it will be.
I think the fusion element will be like the idea of the original Secret Wars was like almost like the X-Men intro, where it's like one team versus another team, clash, big battle. I think it could still be that with, like the X-Men Fox branded stuff. Yeah.
Bound to be, right?
Yeah. I'd be
I think it
shocked
takes
if it was
elements from
something
there.
other than that.
And then the next half of the movie will get the
What
good
about Peter
stuff.
Jackson?
Ooh,
He's too busy making Beatles biopics.
Oh,
I don't think he's coming out of that hole. Unfortunately, we've lost him.
Ooh, I'd see him do a Gem World though. That'd be kind of cool.
See, Aaron Ruiz, you're going too far. You're going too fucking far. Ezra Miller as Beyonder, do it, Marvel. No. Don't even put that out there.
I will let
say that.
one actor from the Flash movie show up in Secret Wars, and that's Ben Affleck if he comes back as Daredevil.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
That'd be a cool alternate universe.
And I think we're gonna see him before Secret Wars. He's in Deadpool.
I hope he's in Deadpool. I hope they kill him in Deadpool too.
He's in Deadpool, and I mean, I'd like to see Secret Wars include as many of these people as they can, even if it's to get bodied real fast.
Yeah.
But I just think, man, come on, let's get it. Let's do it. This is it. You've been building to it. Let's get it. Let's get Ben Affleck.
I need a close up of Chris Evans' face. I want the crowd to react thinking it's Captain America. Pull out, it's Human Torch.
Think that'll happen.
wild.
I genuinely think that'll happen.
Yeah.
Or
Same
maybe
way.
even
Because
start the shot from his
Disney
ass.
has one joke, and you've already heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right that it will happen.
Either it's a face shot close up or an ass close up. Which, if it's an ass close up, that's happening in Deadpool because it's America's ass.
Yeah, you're right.
They should do it with him and Michael B. Jordan next to each other, as like the Cap and Killmonger, and then they'll pull back into both.
Bro.
You and Jordan.
Bro.
Yes. All right. Marco swayed me. Now I want
Yep.
that. That's fucking hilarious.
You know
I
what?
want that.
Disney has one joke, and Marco just made it better.
Oh my goodness. Get the director who did the last couple of Harry Potter movies to direct Secret Wars. That's from CU50. I'm not looking for that. I can't even think. It's not Chris Columbus, right? It's I don't even
No,
know.
he sailed the ocean blue.
director, yeah.
I'm not sure who directed the
Bitch.
I I don't know. For some reason I feel that we don't need that.
David Yates. David Yates.
Okay.
Even eats. James Wan, bro.
No. No, not for me.
I would like James Wan on a Marvel movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think then we're leaning more into the magic. You know what? James Wan want to do Blade? I'm there for it.
Oh,
Ooh.
wait, Blade already. Well, actually, I don't even know what the status of Blade
Does
is.
Blade have
Never mind.
director? See?
James Wan can have it.
That'd be
James
cool.
Wan comes in, Blade gets made.
Yeah, word.
I want to tackle this comment real fast from Adam Smith. Thank you for commenting. Haven't seen your name before. What method allows you to keep more of the money I send your way? Patreon or YouTube membership? Last thing I want to do is give Google more money than necessary. You know, I really appreciate you asking that question. That's very considerate of you. The answer is that both take a chunk, but Patreon is less of a chunk for them, more for us. And we are able to give back more as a result, I would say. So my humble answer to that question would be Patreon, but ultimately you being here right now is support. So thank you for considering going the extra mile. We appreciate you just being here. Thank you.
And the even more direct way would be there's like an alleyway on 42nd Street. If you meet us there, 40 Ducey Street, if you meet us there around 7 p.m. tonight, then maybe we can talk about something. But
I'll be in Philly, so you're going to have to do that.
I'll give it a go.
All right.
Well, there's another way, obviously. You get a plane ticket, Manchester. I'll come pick you up. Like,
Douchebag makes an interesting point, and it's so weird to say that name.
In that sequence of words. You know what? Douchebag in particular.
that's what I say when Marco talks.
Oh,
Damn.
shit. So he says, he says, however, I don't believe that the MCU truly has moved on from Joss's style because for the most part, the MCU has tried to copy his style. So I think my opinion on that is that what the MCU landed on is an evolution of the style that Joss introduced that James Gunn refined. And I would also add that the Russos took that style and then said, okay, a little bit less on the humor, a little bit more on the big drama, like the big stuff, and added weight.
And I would even argue that evolved further with Taika Waititi, but it hurt and it sort of went backward.
I think you could have a family tree, honestly, of diverging paths of where things go. And I think a lot of it's Joss Whedon. And I think that's Hollywood and writing in general, honestly.
Yes. Yes. The last 20 years of writing has been influenced by Joss Whedon for sure. But I do think that coupled with the allegations and just, time moving on, maybe an amalgamation of that style is still present, but I don't think his exact way is still the way things happen.
I could see him doing amalgam.
I can't see him doing anything with his name on it anymore. So
Yo, but amalgam is DC and Marvel. Who else? Him and James Gunn. Get them both.
Yeah.
Joss Gunn.
That's good. James Whedon.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're gonna answer this one last question and then we'll move on to another subject. Roboters 100 says, here's my question. Is the F4 movie kicking off this phase leading into Secret Wars? I believe the answer is yes. I believe that Kang Dynasty was supposed to drop, then FF, then Secret Wars. I think that's the trajectory that we're on, but that may have shifted. I could be wrong.
I thought it was FF, Kang Dynasty, and then Secret War.
Because I'm pretty sure there is a meaningful movie between Kang and Secret Wars, but again, I could be mixed up. So It would make sense though.
We haven't gotten a Slate update in a long time.
I think they're cagey with that now.
Yeah,
I
think
I
because
don't think they've had a Slate update in a long time.
It's just-
We've
According
had
to,
yeah.
sorry, according to the wiki, yeah, Fantastic Four, Blade, and then Kang, and then Dynasty and Secret Wars.
I just think of the whiteboard they have in Anaheim has like Blade just erased so many times that it's kind of already in the board. It's like its DNA lives in the whiteboard.
Yeah, the intern that put that graphic together wasn't even. It was supposed to be erased, but he saw it and said, "Oh, Blade. Okay, that's weird, but we'll put it in there."
Hilarious. Unbelievable. I want to thank Adam Smith, who actually just subscribed to us on Patreon at the I Shall Become a Pal tier, which is
Wow.
the tier at which you get a nickname and a shout out.
Yo,
Adam, thank you so much. It never, ever, ever ceases to bring a smile to my face when you guys do that, because it shows that you really appreciate what we're doing and you're going above and beyond to support us. Thank you deeply. I never thought when we first started doing this that there would come a time where we'd be doing the show and in the midst of that, people would be supporting us in that way. So really thank you. And next week, we will bring you your superhero or supervillain nickname and a shout out. Really thank you so much. All right, let's move along. We talked about the MCU. Let's get into the MU, but not 616 MU. Let's get into the Ultimate Universe. So we now know the mystery is gone. There's no more mystery about the creative teams behind these Ultimate Universe books. Dennis Camp, Juan Frigeri on the Ultimates, right? Dennis Camp has really, he has the hot hand right now, I think, as far as like up and coming writers go. Dennis Camp's name is ringing out. He was my pick for creator come up of the year. I feel like I already won that, quite frankly. But Children of the Vault he did, which was awesome. 20th Century Men I still haven't gotten to, but I got to read it. So he's a big deal now. And Marvel handed him the Ultimates, the keys to the Ultimates. Comicbook.com did a great interview with him that I encourage you to check out. It was conducted by Jamie Lovett. And we got some cool designs in there. We got to see the design for Ultimate Ant-Man and Wasp. And we also got a few preview pages that all look really good with the Juan Frigeri artwork attached to them. First of all, he talks about Dennis Camp is a pretty thoughtful person, from what I can tell. He talks about what we can expect from the story, the framework of the story, kind of what is the mission statement of this book. And he had this to say. They've traveled 6 months, and this is in reference to the Ultimates. They've traveled 6 months into the future to escape death. In that time, the Makers Council has consolidated power and taken control of the narrative. The world believes the Ultimates were responsible for the destruction of Stark Tower and the murder of thousands. That's a bit of where the inversion comes in. In the original Ultimates, they were fighting terrorists. Our Ultimates are the terrorists, or at least they're perceived to be. Their basic mission is to overthrow the council and prepare the world for whatever is going to emerge from the Maker's time-accelerated city in 18 months. To do that, they plan to form an Ultimates resistance network, the exact concept and mechanics behind which will be spelled out in the first issue. But what I can say is that every issue will be a complete, done-in-one story, and almost every issue is going to introduce a new version of a classic character. 18 months to build the Marvel Universe and free the world. No pressure. What do you guys think about that? I think that's pretty interesting. One and done stories. Done in one stories.
The last time I remember this done with Avengers was it Warren Ellis's Secret Avengers? There's a lot of one and done stories in that I really enjoyed. I'm not against one and done stories. I like one and done stories, especially if done well. Fan of that, and I'm a fan of Fat Boy Hank in this too.
oh word, yeah, he's a little bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is neat. The fact that I think there's a bit of a lost art in single issue stories, and especially when it comes to like most of the mainstream comics. It's always for the arc. It's always to set up the next thing, but for this to be an exploration of characters within the Ultimate Universe is interesting because it fleshes out. It's sort of the opposite of what the Ultimates was. Like it's a book about a superhero team. Now it's a book about superheroes, and I kind of like that twist. So this is cool. It's exciting.
Just let me break things up to say thank you, huge thank you to Sanji for also jumping on the Patreon at the I Shall Become a Pal tier. Sanji's been
Yo.
with us for a long time.
Oh, nuts.
Thank you so much for doing that. Really appreciate you. I said it before, I'll say it again. You guys are the greatest audience. I really appreciate all the support and love. Thank you. Rami asks, who was the artist on the book? It is Juan Frigeri. I'm not like that interested in one and done stories. I like, you know, sequential, um, you know, carryover stories. But I assume what he means is that whatever the conflict that's introduced is in that issue will be resolved in that issue, but it doesn't mean that things won't also carry over. And clearly there's an overarching mission that they're on. So I'm with that.
It'll be episodic more
Right.
than, um, different stories every time.
Yeah.
I picture something like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where it's like, you have the big global backdrop of, the Cardassian Bajoran War, but there are each episode is a story told within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the Ultimates to go deal with tribbles.
Pervert. What I really like about this is just a little bit further in that down in that interview. It says that I think it's Dennis says they're definitely not celebrities or rock stars, just the opposite. Their status as outlaws and terrorists means they're constantly under threat. It kind of revitalizes the importance of the secret identity. It truly makes it life or death. That's exciting.
It's a bit New Avengers right after Civil War.
Yeah. I feel like with a lot of the superheroification of media and storytelling and stuff, we've sort of lost the secret identity a bit, because actors can't handle, having the mask on because you have to see their face for whatever reason or another. I think having the secret identity come back will be cool.
Yeah. I like that they're trying to, not in goofy ways, they're trying to make this materially different than 616. They're not just changing stuff for the sake of it, at least not in every case. They're trying to do cool stuff. And, this interview really showed me that Dennis Camp is the guy to do this job. He understands that, hey, we have a fun sandbox that we can play in. Let's do stuff that we can't otherwise do. And I really like that 18 months idea, because when we saw the dome close up and keep everyone that was in that conflict inside that dome, it was like, okay, so what the hell are they going to do with that? This is exactly what they're going to do with that. That represents the inevitable future. I love that. I love the idea that there is something inevitable that in the now these characters have to prepare for, but they don't even necessarily know what the hell is going to come out of that. And so whenever that happens, whatever comic book that is, that's going to be hot as fuck, especially if Dennis Camp can earn our excitement further by establishing things in this series. The other thing that I think is worth discussing is the Ant-Man and Wasp that we get to see here. Tyler alluded to the fact that this is an Ant-Man who's got a bit of a larger body build.
Dad bod.
Yeah. And Dennis Camp talks about how there's a different angle to their relationship. He says, quote, I really like them. I guess I don't want to give too much away because that's a major part of the first issue, getting to know them. I think we've got a pretty unique take and dynamic for them. I hope people will like it. I'm wondering if they're brother and sister.
Oh,
There's condensing
No, thank you.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver into completely different characters.
I want Wasp to be, because in the comics she was a fashion designer, right? So someone of note. What if she's a Twitch streamer and Hank is her simp, like a top donor or something?
just an e-girl.
Yeah, yeah. That's the modern dynamic I want.
Wow.
Huh.
I like the designs. I like that they're, essentially classic, but they've got some flair. They've got some twists. I think Juan Frigeri did a great job, especially Wasp. I really like her face mask, that it like comes up, it raises up. And then her visor clearly comes down over her face. I like that her face is not exposed. It plays into the idea that these are not celebrities. They need to keep their identities a secret. So that's really cool.
I think the designs too are just clean.
Yeah.
Simple. They have accents here and there, but like on Ant-Man, you got these blue accents. Easy, nothing overwhelming. Classic, black and red. Otherwise, little antennas. They look like they can go in and out too.
Yeah.
And I think on Twitter or X, Dennis Camp even confirmed that, like, hey, remember the whole Yellow Jacket thing with Hank Pym in the comics? Yeah, he's not that character in this. So he's not an aggressive abuser. So
Interesting. Yeah, that answers Aaron's question. The question of the million is, will he beat her up?
not a part of this.
Damn.
Yeah,
Damn, bro.
I have that issue too. The issue of Yellow Jacket on Trial, Avengers, fantastic cover.
Adam Smith says, is it possible to use the superhero perk on our furry friends? My dog is a golden retriever named Bernie. He is watching with me. Thank you for letting us know that. That will definitely influence what I come up with, for sure.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
Can I backtrack just a second with a question?
Please do.
Aaron says, I'm quite interested in the 18-month stuff. Is it an arbitrary time frame in the book, or those that mean in 18 months real life we know what comes out? So far, at least in Ultimate Spider-Man, each issue is a month later, right? So it's started in January, and we've hit January, February, or March.
I think that they're going to get as close to 18 real life months as they can, and potentially 18 issues. I think that is really smart, but this is comics, so we know that delays come up, and things happen. Jonathan Hickman might decide to take a different job and leave the Ultimates altogether. We don't know, but I think specifically what Dennis Camp is talking about is in story. Yeah. I think he's talking about the 18-month timeline for the characters, not for us, although I think Marvel would like it to land in a similar vein. Because if you think about it, 18 months is a year and a half. How long are we really going to wait around to find out what's in that dome, right? It's not, come on.
I've already forgotten about the dome. So we're talking about stuff I don't even know what we're talking about.
Same. I'm so focused on like Spider-Man and X-Men that like I'm not even thinking about the dome.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. I think that's a good thing.
Thank you to Omni Mary Amen for joining the Pals sidekick
and for the super chat.
Wow, you guys are killing it today. And I've never even seen your name before, Omni Mary Amen. So thank you for hanging out with us. And the $10 super chat. The Wasp should be a mutant like she is in the 616. Don't give me an MCU version of the Wasp.
Ooh, and Paris too. Back to being a VIP pal.
Thank you so. Wow, you guys are really the greatest audience. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Wildly generous. Thank you. Yeah. I will agree with you up to the point of Ant-Man 3. like Hope in the Ant-Man movies, except the last one. She doesn't do anything. So
I really like the Wasp. I feel like she's underutilized, and so hopefully her status as a founding Avenger on this team of Ultimates, Dennis Camp is gonna center her and really utilize her in a good way.
That was news to me that the Wasp in Marvel Comics is a mutant. I didn't realize that.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, it's apparently secret. So.
Oh my goodness, Amin with the 5 gifted memberships. What is going on today?
Yo,
and they worked this time.
they went to everybody. Perfect.
Thank you,
actually-
Amin, so much for gifting those memberships. Congratulations to Douchebag16, Sanji, Wow 3620, Dow, and
Hey.
Freddie Lane for becoming channel members for the month. I hope you enjoy your early access to videos, your emojis in the chat, your green names. I want to see those emojis. If you can throw those out, we'd love
Slap
to see
those
it.
faces in the chat.
Yes, please, please, please. You guys are great. You're making my day, really. And I've had not a good week, so thank you so much.
Especially YouTube and Patreon wise, we've had an interesting week. So this is great.
Indeed. So this issue, Ultimates #1, goes on sale June 5th. For me, that can't come soon enough. I am
Yep.
full hot for this.
Yeah, this is cool.
You fully torqued for this one, Sean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm torqued up.
Cool.
Well,
I'm just happy to see Sif some more. I'm a big Sif guy, so more Sif for me.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too. Like, it's not the exact traditional Avengers. There are some mix-ups in play,
wild cards, yeah.
and we're gonna get more apparently.
Doctor Doom is an Avenger technically, although it's Reed, but it's still Doctor Doom with a great costume. So
Yeah.
this cover slaps too, man. The blue hues on it too. It's just got this electricity to it, all emanating from Thor's hammer.
yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. Love comics. Let's talk. Oh, geez. I haven't said this at all today. I am not doing my job as a host. Smash the like button so that we can play a game. We're gonna spin the wheel. You guys know how we end things. We're not there yet, but we're gonna spin the wheel and hopefully close out with a fun game for you guys. So make sure you hit that like button. Jeff Johns and Jason Fabach. For them to come up, you would think we would be talking about Ghost Machine, which Ghost Machine Day was this past Wednesday. We celebrated on Thursday with Pals Pulls. We reviewed all 3 of the Ghost Machine books that dropped this week. But this is not about Ghost Machine. This is about Joker. I thought these guys were done with DC. What are we doing here? What are we talking about? Jeff Johns and Jason Fabach related to Joker.
What a bunch of clowns.
Dang it. And sorry, another super chat from Omni Mary Amen. Thank you again. Janet Van Dyne is the Wasp. Hope is MCU. He hated her for being a mutant. He was racist. It added depth to their relationship. Well, murky relationship.
Right. That's a good point. Yes, absolutely. You're right. Janet Van Dyne. Yeah.
This
I
is
could see Michael Douglas.
This is
hitting,
Hank Janet Van Dyne lore I did not even know about.
Stop.
I'm just saying he's an old man.
No.
You know,
Okay.
it's
All
a different
right.
time.
Okay. Thank
I'm
you.
just saying I can see it.
You know what though? To Omni's point, I love Hope in the movies. I think all that stuff was done well. I really, really wanted Janet Van Dyne.
Yeah.
I really did.
They missed it.
Yeah, and we're never getting that. We're never getting Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. That's not happening in the way that we would like it. I don't want to see the bad parts of their relationship. Just those actual characters I love, and we're not going to get them as prominent figures. So that does suck.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Appreciate you. Now, on the subject, Joker the World is the book that we're getting. It is in the vein of Batman the World, where DC essentially hired some of their in-house people, but also creators from around the world to tell stories involving Batman. And they are essentially doing the same thing here with Joker the World. The solicit reads, this September, the Joker takes his unique brand of madness and mayhem on a world tour, as DC Today announced plans to publish Joker the World, a 184-page hardcover anthology. This can't-miss anthology will feature Joker stories by creative teams representing 13 different countries, including Jeff Johns, Satoshi Miyagawa, David Rubin, German Peralta, Alvaro Fong Valera, Jason Fabok, and others, with stories tailored to their authentic style, tone, and cultural sensibilities of different nations around the world. Joker the World highlights how DC's most popular supervillain has inspired chaos on a global scale. And it'll be out September 17th. Cool. So
Wow.
I didn't read Batman the World. Did any of you guys check that out?
Batman the World?
Yeah.
I did. It was a lot.
I feel like we do bits and pieces of it.
I don't recall.
No.
Maybe I wasn't here. I don't believe I read that. Okay. So we don't really have much familiarity. Tyler, you didn't like it?
It was just too much, you know. There was a lot of hit and miss. I think with those giant anthologies, it becomes a bit of a hit and miss thing too. And there were some where it was like written by people who were like English is not their first language, so it was translated over, which I think might have lost some of the I guess the perspective on it, and it gets lost in translation. It was just a little too much for me, and also like some of the art styles were very European, which was like, all right, this is kind of weird for Batman. Looked a little weird, but I mean, I like the experiment. But I'm sorry. How many pages you say this was, Sean? 148?
184.
Yeah, 184. Yeah.
184. Yeah, I don't want to read that much Joker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. Like to focus on a singular character to that degree, and for one that already is outplayed, has felt outplayed, that if this is coming out alongside what's going on with and the news around Three Jokers, like, man, we just had an event. Oh, dude, chill, relax, take a beat.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But there is the Jason Fabok and Jeff Johns aspect of this. So what is their involvement with this? Well, a lot of people thought maybe this was going to be their long talked about sequel to Three Jokers, which DC via Chip Zdarsky has essentially, made non-continuity. I think if there was any question about it before, they put the stamp on it. That shit didn't happen. So what is the point of their involvement now? Well, they are following up on Three Jokers, but not with a big story. It's a 10-page epilogue to their Three Jokers story.
Hooray.
It's like they
It's
just recollected it for a hardcover. Like they finally got to it. That like just came out recently. And now we're probably going to get it recollected in 3 years with this added to it.
It's the kiss. It's going to be Nightwing and Barbara. They're
No, in Three Jokers, it's not Barbara. I mean, it's not Nightwing and Barbara. It's Jason Todd and Barbara.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes, yes.
So I say this as somebody who actually really liked Three Jokers. More for the creative team involved and their work within the books than the actual concept. I don't feel like I need this. In fact, I know I don't. If it's not in continuity anymore, then what reason will we need a 10-page epilogue?
Sorry, and you're just talking about the epilogue specifically,
Yeah.
more than the Joker concept, the Joker the World concept.
Yeah. The 10-page epilogue doesn't make sense to me at this point. Three Jokers came out like 4 years ago. So why do we need an epilogue to that? And it's not in continuity.
And didn't it have an epilogue? Isn't the epilogue of Three Jokers Bruce going to his wife's house or whatever?
Oh, you mean like in the Three Jokers?
In
it
the
had
book,
an epilogue?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. So now it's getting an addendum on top of that.
And
I don't
10
need it.
pages, that's a chapter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need it. I think that they probably had this in the vault or they commission them for one last thing just to trump this up, because I think this sells a lot better if you can highlight Jeff and Jay as the the lead creatives. But that doesn't make me need to buy this.
Jeff had to fund Ghost Machine somehow.
Needed the paycheck.
Hey, and good for them.
Yeah,
Get some DC
Sure.
money on the way out.
Yeah.
The whole concept
Yeah.
of Three Jokers was always half baked to me. Like, I felt like there might have been something there, but we just never got to hear that story.
Yeah, and I think Rook Exodus took precedent for them. Before any Ghost Machine, they were already working on this,
Yeah.
and we know that for a literal fact. So I think they just pivoted. They said, "Yeah, we're not going to waste our time on something we don't own when we could just work on something we do."
Yep.
Well, and even how long did it take from the idea of Batman sitting in the Metron chair and hearing the Joker's actually three people to Batman Three Jokers? Like that, that idea and that concept was already so tossed to the side anyway. I just it's just not. All due respect to Jeff, it's just not important. It's not important to DC, so why should it be important?
I feel like a deprioritized story, like a thread that needed to get tied, and now that it's there, and it partly tied, they need to just do another wrap on top.
Some editor saw that come through and had to go, I'm gonna approve this, but we're gonna change that later. Boom.
Aaron Ruiz says, "But why though? That disrupts the premise from the book. There's no cultural background." That's a good point too. It doesn't fit with the premise of the book. It feels like we have these pages, we don't know where else to get these off. Let's use them to bolster the sales of this book that otherwise doesn't have names that are big enough to keep this selling here in the United States.
To be fair, Fabek's Joker on the cover is wearing a winter coat, and Fabek's Canadian. So maybe this is Canadian representation.
But
All that Canadian cultural background, yes. I'm not, hey, I'm sure there's a lot of Canadian culture. One thing I'm very curious about is Black Canadian culture, but that's a story for another day. 2023 artwork seems like it's been done for a while. Yeah, I think so.
probably has.
Yeah. Well, we probably won't be reading that on Pals Pulse because none of us are too hyped. But if you want to check it out for yourself, you'll be able to do that on September 17th.
Oh, Mike, we didn't mean it like that, bro. We didn't mean it like that, bro. Hockey and shit. That's cool. Fucking Tim Hortons.
Milk in a bag. Dude, when I learned about milk in a bag, I lost my mind. Like, what? You do what?
Give me a chocolate dip or a French vanilla.
He said Canada can't do strays.
Canada, put your maple leaves up.
You guys got Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight show Wolverine.
Let's be real.
Oh.
There have been a lot of imports from Canada that were amazing. A lot. Isn't Pamela Anderson Canadian? I think that's true. Maybe.
My man, that's where you're starting?
Of course. What else do we get from them?
Canadian American, yep.
We got Chris
Wolverine.
Jericho, who is the front man for the fantastic band Fozzy.
Chris Jericho. This is true. We won't talk about the other Chris.
Ryan Reynolds is Canadian, isn't he?
Ryan Reynolds. So we got some cool peep Drake, right?
I was just about to say
Drake.
Which they could keep. They could keep him. But hey, so I love Canada. I've always wanted to go to Canada.
I don't
But
know shit about Canada. So
The milk throws me off. I can't drink milk anyway, but the milk concept throws me off.
I know Quebec has a lot of friendly raccoons.
Montreal was cool. Montreal was real cool.
Yeah. Brian, who's Brian Adams? Todd McFarlane's Canadian? What? Is that true?
I can see it.
McFarlane.
I can see it.
Oh, now he's trying to shove Drake on us. Nah,
No.
Yeah, Canadian. Ty McFarlane.
Oh yeah, Jim Carrey. Yeah, he's Canadian.
What?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Jim Carrey. Yeah.
yeah.
What?
Mike Myers too.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. Wow.
Broke his
I think
brain.
a lot of like TV filming happens in Toronto.
Pretty much all of the CW DC stuff
Yeah.
was
Mm.
all.
Yeah.
Listen,
Canada,
talk
yeah.
to me. I can't be the only one out of the four of us and all the chat. Degrassi, right? We all watched it. Come on. That was
Oh,
Canadian.
I didn't. I never.
Sorry.
That wasn't.
Sorry.
I watched.
Was that on Disney?
No,
No, I
it
don't even
was-
know what channel that was on.
It was on like Teen Nick, I think, in the US.
And I don't even think so.
Wow.
I think me and my siblings used to watch it on what was that weird channel? It was some I
Noggin.
don't- Noggin. I think it was Noggin. Some weird.
It's,
Which was Nickelodeon.
It was a
Yeah.
Nickelodeon spinoff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, Chip Zdarsky,
Okay.
Jeff Lemire, Michael J. Fox. Damn,
You didn't
I
know
didn't know
Chip
about
was
Lemire.
Canadian.
I forgot that Chip was Canadian.
You didn't know Lemire was Canadian.
That I didn't
No.
know.
That's like most of his personality.
I don't know much about his personality.
Yeah.
So
most
and-
of Lemire's books are about being Canadian.
oh, huh. And we got Mike Elliott. So that's a great, although he's not imported because he's still over there. So.
I thought you said he's not important. I was like,
Oh my
oh, Sean, come on.
Yo, he's just going after my man's now.
No, he's one of my faves. Come on. Yeah, love Canada. Always wanted to go. Tell me when I can go when it will not be cold. Because one thing about me, I'm black. I don't like cold weather. I don't want to deal with it. My body doesn't like it. Although I'm actually people think I'm weird because I don't get as cold as other people. But when I'm cold, I'm fucking cold. So you let me know when I can go over there and not be cold.
There's also a thing with New Yorkers where cold and dressing for the cold are separate things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to dress the way you need to dress, no
Yeah.
matter how cold you get.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
suck it up.
Yeah, bro.
Well, and you know, New Yorkers, and I'm speaking of someone who grew up in the Midwest. You guys can go in places where it will be warm,
sure.
whereas Midwesterners know that if you're not going out to start your car before you leave, you ain't gonna be warm, and that's just how it's gonna be.
Oh no. See, that's why I stayed my ass right here.
Don't move.
Yeah. Why go anywhere? Why go anywhere? Air Harlem, a name I've not seen. Welcome. Thank you for hanging out. Says Canadian bacon, Canada dry, part of Niagara Falls.
Well, Canadian bacon is just ham, so I'm gonna call you on that.
I agree with that one.
Canada.
yeah.
Yeah, did you say you agree with that one?
I agree. I think it's not. It shouldn't be called bacon.
Yeah, okay, right. Canada Dry. I'll give you that one. I like Canada Dry.
Good.
I don't like Canada dry.
More of a Schweppes guy.
I don't drink any of that.
Got that.
Yeah,
got that.
you gotta
get
be-
that polar.
That's not ginger ale.
It's not, but
So why the fuck did you show it?
because they
So
got
defeated. He looked at it and he went, "It's not."
Yo, oh, that's so hilarious. That's so hilarious. Keanu Reeves is Canadian?
He was born in Lebanon, but then
Yeah.
he grew up in Toronto.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, Toronto.
Crazy.
Is this Scott Pilgrim guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Lee
him too.
O'Malley
All right.
is Canadian. Yeah.
We've now spent more time talking about Canada and Canadians than we ever have in the history of the show. And this is a comics podcast in which Wolverine is brought up regularly. Canada should not have this kind of spotlight here, okay?
If only we had a character that was like a Canadian Wolverine or something.
It's a shame.
No one will understand that.
Listen, when he gets here in 5 years, Paul is gonna love this reference.
Right. All right, so let's play a game. Let's get a game and let's spin the wheel. Let's have some fun. We've been having I didn't know how much fun I could have talking about Canada, but
Maybe we should talk about other places.
well, where else can we talk about?
You guys ever been to New Zealand?
Hell, fucking no.
I'd like to go.
All right, let's spin this wheel. What are we getting? And I'm spinning it, spinning it, spinning it.
Getting some kiwis.
What do we got?
You guys ever have a golden
Hey, we're
kiwi?
finally doing it. We're finally doing it. Give me the green light. Let's go.
Hey, been a while. This
I
is
gotta
a game.
find where I hid that friggin' folder.
Oh,
All right. So let me just get so give me the green light. I will describe what it is. We're all Green Lantern fans here. We've all enjoyed some Green Lantern in our lives. It turns out there's a lot of them. There's a lot of different Green Lanterns. So what better way to play a game where I'm going to give you everyone a whole bunch of names of characters, or it could be anything really, and the pals are going to tell me whether or not they are actually Green Lanterns. And I've slipped them up a couple times. I've thrown in, things where it is a Red Lantern. So there's things here. I'm vamping while I find this folder.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's what you're doing. So Harris said, listen, Bret Hart is Canadian. Thank you. There you go. That is a true blue American Canadian.
Truly. What?
Yes, those are the kinds of Canadians we take. And when we take them, we keep them. That is an American Canadian. Pamela Anderson is an American Canadian. We take those. Drake
All right.
is Canadian.
We're ready. We're ready. Do I have does my button still work? I haven't used this button in a while. I guess it sort of worked. I think the stream might have heard it. All right, so
Oh man,
first
I can't
one.
hear it. That's the best part.
Well, we'll see. First name I have up here is Yalin Gur. Yalin Gur. So Sean, is Yalin Gur a Green Lantern?
I'm going to say no.
No, because Sean's a definitive no on this.
Is will the picture be on the YouTube?
Yeah. You'll see it on the YouTube. Yeah.
All right, all right.
Yalangur, like Yalin Gur.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay. Marco's
say yeah.
Marco's a yes.
I also say yeah.
So we got Sean as a no, and Marco and Cale as yes. All right. So Yalin Gur is in fact a Green Lantern. Green
Yes.
Lantern
Oh
of
yeah.
Sector 2814. Huh? Did you know that he was a Green Lantern of this sector, our own sector? I think he got killed by some weirdos. They just beat him to death. A weird golden age era character. Next name, Ben Quadranaros.
That's a no.
No.
Sean saying no, not a Green Lantern. Okay.
Cale said
Ben.
no.
Whoa,
So
look at that guy.
one thing here.
Wow.
One thing. If you're saying no, so whatever name I come up with is something. I'm not making up names. It is something. Whether or not it's a Green Lantern, that's the question. But if you say no, I'm curious if you can tell me what it's from.
I can. I know this one.
I
Oh,
think you might.
This one's from Star Wars.
Well, possibly. Could be a Green Lantern though.
It's not.
I'm gonna say no, based solely off of Cale's unbridled confidence.
Well, Cale's confident with a lot of stuff. But in this case, Cale's right. Ben Quadranaros was one of the pod racers from
Yes.
Anakin's.
Oh yeah.
can
One of
hear
my
him
favorites.
saying
He his thing breaks right before the race starts. And there was a typing game I played growing up. It was to teach me how to type. That was pod racing themed. So the quicker you type, the quicker your pod racer can go around a track. And I played as Ben Quadranaros pretty much exclusively for that. So
Look at that guy.
what an ugly little dude, right?
I'm just gonna sit here through this whole segment, and when the picture finally pops up, I'm just gonna be like, "Look at him."
That dude got a problem.
Yeah, he's
Yo,
all
I
head. All head.
Remember that? Oh, no neck.
No neck. Yeah. All right.
it's-
Next
What,
up is
like the
Aku
American is
Aku.
like,
What?
Aku Aku.
nope,
No,
not a green, not a
Aku.
not a lantern.
that's not cool.
I'm gonna say no.
No.
That's Crash Bandicoot.
Kale's right. That is the mask from Crash Bandicoot, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Cale getting some gravy points on this one. All right.
You have to work to wake up pretty early in the morning and catch me.
What about this one? I have Arcus Chummuck.
Oh shit. He woke up.
Arcus Chummuck?
Arcus Chummuck.
Chummuck.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. You know what helps genuinely is seeing it. The spelling of it really.
Interesting. All right. Well, you're right. This is that werewolf looking Green Lantern that's always in the background of Green Lantern shots.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones whose name I did not know. So Arcus Chummuck. But that's an interesting point you give, Cal. I might have to think about that for future versions.
It's great. Lanterns, real lanterns have a very specific spelling that looks like you look at it, you go, that's Green Lantern.
Okay, then. What about this next one? Abdurak.
Huh. Abdurak. Well, now I gotta wait for the frickin'
Yeah, I know.
It's like I don't want to say anything.
Abdurak, I'm going to say no.
No. Okay. Any idea if you're saying no, what it could be?
Abdurak.
I'm gonna say
reasoning?
no. I think it's an acronym.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna say yes. I gotta take a risk to get ahead of Cale.
Say no from Dune.
Oh, it does feel Dune-ish, yeah. The answer is no. And this is actually a side character from Baldur's Gate 3 who
Come on.
who praises Loviatar, which is a god of pain. And there's a segment in it where you can just get naked and get whipped by this dude.
Okay.
Yeah, and you get up to 1 HP, and if you do it, if you do all your rolls successfully, you get a buff for the rest of the playthrough. It's pretty fun.
This guy
Yeah.
doesn't look like he needs a buff.
It's very
He's a
kinky.
limp.
It is very kink coded. He shows up in a goblin camp. It's weird.
Coded.
Yeah. All right, so let's do one more. Marvin Suggs.
Oh, surely.
Yes.
So Marco and Sean are saying yes.
Caleb,
Sucks is
the-
something.
The only way to do it is you gotta say no. So that's one of us has to win.
I'm
Well, Kale's in the lead.
sure it's a no. Because Suggs is something.
No. Okay, so Kale's saying no.
I say no.
Sean and Marco say yes. The answer is no. Marvin Suggs is a Muppet.
Knew it.
He is the dancing Muppet. He does he does all kinds of Spanish informed dancing and stuff. So he's got the flamenco kind of ruffly shirt on and everything.
Sure.
But
Wow.
yeah.
Cale, that was a sweep, yeah?
Yeah,
think
Cale
every single one.
swept it. Almost swept it with
Wow.
even explaining why.
This shit, dude. Crazy.
Which kind of worries me that I might be thinking like Cale, and we might be more similar than I realized, but
Mac, that makes me worry for me.
Yeah, if you saw that picture that Tyler sent us of his
it's evened out now. I fixed it.
for now.
So a lot more feet.
No. It's a lot of monkey videos. I watched a series of monkey videos to reformat my algorithm.
Hey, my man. That's not better.
What, little monkeys? Oh yeah, it's Give Me the Green Light.
Yeah, congratulations to Cale on the win. Hope you enjoy your no prize. Great game, Tyler. It's always fun to play this, and I find myself always bewildered with this game.
Bewildered, and it's only a 50-50 shot.
Well, not if you know for a fact, as Cale
Sure,
did a couple
sure.
of times.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know shit. Apparently.
I also like learning actual Green Lantern names. Like, there's a bit of a fun part of it for me. Like coming up with this, I'm like, oh, that guy, I didn't know his name.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. The next time that we will be live with you is Thursday for Pals Polls. That is, of course, the show where we review comics, which is everybody's favorite. Come hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. Make sure you vote in the listener pick poll, youtube.com/thecomics pals under the community tab. We want to get this to be the most voted in poll ever. So let's do that. Let's work together to make that happen. Just head on over to the community tab and cast your vote. The books we will be reading are Action Comics 1064, Ultimate X-Men #2, Resurrection of Magneto 4, and Transformers 7, and of course the winner of the poll. So that's Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/thecomics-pals. For that, for everything else, at the Comics Pals. Support us on Patreon if you want to. Channel members, we thank you. You can become a channel member by clicking the join button as you get out of here. Great day. Great day that for me at least is going to get even better since I'm off to WrestleMania. You guys make this special to do. You make it special. You make it fun. We've done this for a long time. I think I speak for everybody when I say this right now is the most fun we're having that we have had doing the shows.
In all the years.
Yeah. The support means the world. It's not just the financial part. It's the fact that 40 plus of you showed up overall to watch us just here live today.
Yep.
That's incredible. And in a world that increasingly sucks with more and more badness happening, it feels great to have a safe haven and a place to retreat to where you know that people are going to support you and love you and treat you with dignity, whether you're one of the four of us on the show or one of the listeners who then hits the Discord. We can always have a good conversation and dialogue and have fun talking about comics. That's what we're here to do. That's what we love to do. And we love you for doing it with us. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will see you on Thursday.